There's been a great deal of commentary in recent weeks about the need to cut public spending. And if the financial crisis has taught us anything, it is the importance of having a prudent approach to fiscal policy. We need to get this under control as quickly as possible. And I think it's entirely false for the government to argue that we have to choose between getting debt under control and fostering economic recovery. The two go hand in hand, particularly if you want the recovery to be as sustainable as I do. Public spending here in the North East was the highest of any region in 2000. A decade on, is as high as still, at 58% of regional GDP. Does this mean that the North East is the most vulnerable? I don't think it should mean that at all. What it means, in fact, I think here is the biggest opportunity. Our analysis is that whilst public spending does need to be reduced, the best way to spread prosperity more fairly throughout the regions is to make sure that we reduce dependence on the public sector and foster a vibrant private sector. That's the route to sustainable recovery. People have questioned how we're going to do this. We need to look again at how we use government money to support enterprise and narrow the gap between the Greater South East and other regions. RDAs have spent £17 billion since their inception in 1999. And yet, sadly, the gap between the Greater South East and other English regions has widened. Public spending here in the North East has grown, and unemployment, whilst tracking the national figures, remains stubbornly high. We believe there must be a better way. Whilst we recognise that RDAs have had some local successes, we believe that the current arrangements can be improved. We want to strengthen local economic development and urban regeneration. We've already pledged to hand housing and planning powers back to local planning authorities. We also want to see the lines of accountability for development bodies going to local government and to the local business community. Accountability is important. There are simply too many places to hide when development stalls. Most of you, when you're coming here today, will have driven past a prime city centre site that's been derelict for far too long, the Vauxhall site, a site where the City Council, Sunderland Arc and Warren North East each have a stake in its future, but no one seems to be accountable for the failure to develop it. That needs to change. We need to strengthen local economies by taking these changes to existing agencies and enabling businesses and local authorities to come forward with proposals for new local enterprise partnerships, with at least half the board being representatives of local commerce and industry. And I know that the North East Business Forum and the Association of North East Councils are preparing such plans for such a body for the whole of the North East. This is a model for development that will focus more sharply on growing the private sector in the region.